Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Nick Cusick, and this summer I participated in the CTE Summer Preceptorship Program with Kaiser Permanente. Throughout this program, I had the amazing opportunity to see the many facets of the medical field and explore how the healthcare system was run. One important thing that I've seen throughout the duration of my experience is the importance of patients. And I don't mean patients like the people who you see being treated in clinical facilities. I mean patients like the quality and of a person to be understanding and be flexible with any problem that's presented to them. And now I'm sure we've all been presented with situations that made us impatient and frustrated and we wanted to lash out, but I'm going to talk about why it's essential to remain patient, especially on the path to and through a medical career. Personally, I've always been interested in medicine. I didn't know what I always wanted to do. There were many options, but I always pictured myself in a medical career one way or another. But that is the easy part, picturing yourself achieving your goals, picturing yourself at the end of the road. But it takes into consideration little about the hurdles that will present themselves to you along the way. And medicine is a daunting and trying pathway, one with many struggles and hardships. This is where patience makes its first appearance. Without patience, without the ability to understand the worth of an outcome, it can be an impossible road to take. And I already realized that the journey to medicine would be a hard and difficult journey that would require a lot of patience. But when entering the program, I didn't realize the extent to which patience was required every day in the medical field. One of the most memorable examples of this, for me at least, was a day that I spent in radiology, specifically ultrasound. The first patient that I had the privilege to watch was a pregnant woman who came in for a health screening for her baby. She came in and she was over 30 minutes late to her 60-minute appointment. It was very inconsiderate and she would apologize profusely, but it set back the sonographer that I was shadowing significantly, so much so that she had to take time out of her own lunch break and in order to prevent her from delaying further appointments. Well, it turns out that she was perfectly kind and understanding despite being terribly inconvenienced, and she decided that even though her time was limited, she was still going to show the couple the gender of the baby, which is normally something done when there's extra time or if the sonographer is feeling generous. And the look of utter joy and elation on their faces was absolutely worth it in her mind. She told me afterwards that sometimes it's necessary to take a little time out of your own day, to go above and beyond, and to meet the patient where they're at, even if they aren't necessarily accommodating to the healthcare professional's needs. The next example was a day I spent in pulmonology. I had to watch a pulmonary function test, and normally these tests, they aren't that bad. They're 30 to 45 minutes, given that the patient follows instructions. But this time the patient wasn't following instructions at all, and the appointment ended up taking 2 hours. Now for those that don't know what a pulmonary function test, you may think, well, it might be interesting. Surgeries take many hours and they're also interesting. But this test is literally watching a patient breathe into a tube in different ways repeatedly for 2 hours. Does not sound that fascinating. Now, despite the patient's negligence to conform to any instructions whatsoever, the respiratory therapist that I was shadowing at the time was perfectly calm and patient with the patient. He was trying to calm her down because she was nervous and he joked around, and at the end of the day, he ended up getting the procedure done and she was on her way. Now, staying calm and patient with the patient didn't produce any seemingly beneficial results in my mind, but as I look back, I can practically guarantee that the patient would have left more disgruntled, more nervous, and the procedure would have taken nearly twice as long had he not been accommodating. This was a different way of looking at it for me, since there was no immediate outcome that I could subconsciously predict. And I thought, well, instead of saying that I should be patient because the foreseeable outcome is almost always worth it, I should say I should be patient because I don't know what would happen if I wasn't. Because you can't always predict what would happen positively if you're patient, but you can always predict that drawbacks of not behaving appropriately because you let the anger get the best of you. While the two experiences that I just listed stood out the most to me, every opportunity that I had pointed out that patience was very important. And I also have 2 quotes that I think put this patience into a positive light. The first quote relates more to the patience required to go into a medical career and have a set goal in mind. Patience is more than simply learning to wait. It is having learned what is worth waiting for. I think that this is an important part of trying to find patience with any situation, if you're having trouble continuing on or working so hard for a goal that seems so far away. The second quote, I think, relates more to what I've encountered in the medical field. A moment of patience in a moment of anger saves 100 moments of regret. On numerous occasions, I would have probably lost my patience with the patients that I saw. Showing up to appointments late or not following instructions at all is kind of hard to be understanding. But in the end, it ended up being better for everyone. The healthcare professional ended up having the respect of the patient, and the patient left happy. So the next time you all forget why you're doing something, or the next time you're frustrated that there aren't any immediate results when you're pursuing a goal, just remember how important patience is, because life is a path that you must take, and every step is important. Thank you.